Hey kids, it's Mr. Bruce. It's so great to see you again. And I've got a great story to talk about today. Today's story is about words. Yep, you heard me right, words. The things we say to people, the things they say to us, and how they make us feel and how they impact us. Now, there's an old saying that was around when I was a little child. It goes like this: Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I guess that was supposed to mean that words weren't going to physically harm me like a stick or somebody hitting me might be. But I think that probably isn't right, because I think words can hurt you. And I've got a story for you. So, guess who this is? That's right. That's me. Not when I was Mr. Bruce, that's when I was little Bruce, back in almost 60 years ago. And I was a little boy, and I grew up in a rural area in Illinois. And when I would go off to elementary school, my older brothers went off to middle school, and I was still in elementary school. And I would have to walk about a half mile down a country road to where the bus stop was, and all the other kids would come to that bus stop. Well, there were some bullies at that bus stop, unfortunately, and I had a great dog named Lady, and Lady would walk with me. She'd escort me down to the bus stop, and when I get on the bus, Lady would walk back to the house. And Lady and I would walk down to the bus stop, but there were some kids down there that were bullies, and they were not very nice to me, and they would call me names. And I remember one of the names they called me was Booger Nose Bruce. Now, that may sound kind of funny right now, but when you're a little boy, it didn't make you feel good at all, because my nose was always running, and they made me feel bad. And it got even worse, because sometimes when the apples were falling from a tree nearby, they'd pick up the rotten apples off the ground, and they'd try to throw them at me and my dog Lady. I was pretty smart, though, so I stayed just far enough away that they couldn't reach me, because they weren't very strong kids. And as soon as I saw the bus coming up, I'd then run up to the stop, and I'd get on the bus when it was safe to do so. Now, I still remember that. I'm well in my 60s now, and I still remember that, because their words hurt me. They made me feel bad. And words are very, very powerful. They can cause harm, but they can also heal. Now, the Bible has something to say about words. As a matter of fact, it's really important information about how we use our words. And this week's rule of life that we've been talking about here in the kids area is from the book of Ephesians. And it was written by Paul, and many of the books of the New Testament are actually from letters that were written by Paul to different Christian groups all over the area of the Middle East, where they were doing their ministry. And so there's a city called Ephesus. And can you try to say that? Ephesus. Ephesus. That's right. And the people from Ephesus were called Ephesians. And the name of this book is Ephesians. And Paul would write, he'd go and visit the people all over in Ephesus and other places. And after he left, he would write them letters to continue to provide them encouragement for their following Jesus. And one time, Paul got thrown into prison because he was preaching for Jesus, and the authorities didn't like that. But rather than be sad, he kept on writing letters. And he wrote letters to the many churches that he had helped start, including the people who lived in Ephesus. And so this is from the book of Ephesians 5. Let's see, where is it? It's 429. And here's what Paul wrote. Now listen really carefully, because this is what today is about. Do not let any unwelcome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up, according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. So what it's basically saying is the words that come out of our mouth matter. And it matters because people hear them, and what they hear will impact what they do. Now, I felt like that was a really important lesson for us to have, because words can be so powerful to do many things. Now, have any of you ever played Mad Libs? Mad Libs is a game where there's a story and you kind of fill in the words. You don't know what the story is ahead of time. In this version today, you're going to kind of know the story, but I'm going to show you two different trips to the zoo that are very much impacted by good words or happy words and maybe not so happy words. So here is the first version, and we're going to play the same one twice. I spent the day at the zoo. The weather was, and I picked the word warm, and sunny. That sound like a good day to go to the zoo? I think it is. So I spent the day at the zoo. The weather was warm and sunny. The first place I went to was to see the monkeys. They were so silly. If anybody's seen monkeys, you know that is. They were so silly with one another, and I thought that they were fun. That would be a fun experience, wouldn't it? Then we went to the elephant exhibit, and they were so big and strong is the next word I picked. One of them even came close to me and gave me a big smile, which made me laugh. Now, doesn't that sound like a pretty good trip to the zoo? I think it is. But let's see how that same trip to the zoo might be if we use different words. All right, same story. Ready? I went to the zoo today, and the weather was freezing and rainy. Does that sound as fun? I don't think so. The first place I went was to see the monkeys. They were mean, so mean to one another. And I thought that they were smelly. Would you like to be around mean, smelly monkeys? I don't think I would. Then we went to the elephant exhibit, and they were so fat and lazy. One of them came close by to me and gave me a big burp. A big burp, which made me cry. Now, which of those trips to the zoo would you prefer to have been on? You see, words really matter. It's the same story, but the story completely changed from something kind of fun to something not so fun based upon the words that we use. Now, words can hurt or they can build up. And I'm going to read 3 scenarios to you, which is 3 situations. And those are situations you might find yourself in at your age. And I want to give you some different ways that you could respond to them. So here's the first one. Your friend is having a tough day. You tell her either, "Stop crying about it. You're really bothering me." Or 2, "I'm here to listen anytime you want to talk." Now, which answer do you think is the wise choice? Which one would you like to hear? I agree. Definitely number 2. If someone says that they're there for me, I would be very encouraged by that. And it would probably make my day a lot better. Okay, here's the second one. Your teammate tripped during the game and allowed the other team to score a goal. After the game, you tell her either 1, "We lost the game because of you. You should just quit." Or 2, "We all make mistakes, and I know you'll do better next time." So which one do you think would be the right thing to help your teammate? You're right, number 2. So your teammate already feels bad. And this way, your words can be used to encourage them. But let's imagine how your friend would feel if she tried her best and you told her that she didn't do a good job. And that would really sting, wouldn't it? That would make the situation even worse. Our words really are very powerful. Here's the third one. Your little sister keeps playing with your stuff, and you're afraid she might break something. You either tell her, 1, "I'd love to play with you, go get a board game. Or 2, you're so annoying, go away. Yeah, I think number 1 would be the right answer because it makes your little sister feel great. Your little sister looks up to you. All your little brothers and sisters, if you have them, look up to you. And that's the way that you can encourage them. You see, words can build people up, and words can also tear people down. And think about all those times in your life of people who helped you with their words or who hurt you with their words. But the interesting thing about words is they can also repair or fix what is wrong. Imagine if you, and here's another scenario. Imagine if you felt down and someone said awful things like, you're bothering me, or you should just quit, or you're annoying, go away. But another friend came up to you and said, I don't think you're annoying at all. I love spending time with you. I'm here if you want to talk. Or what if that person who said the bad things came back to you and said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean what I said. Will you forgive me? Now, that doesn't necessarily make all the pain from that go away, but it begins to fix it, doesn't it? It begins to make it better. So these are the things that I want you to begin to think about, that our words are so very powerful. And we remember the things people say to us. Like I still remember when I was this little boy, the things those kids said to me back when I was only 6 or 7 years old. And so we need to remember that our words have incredible power, and that words will hurt me, like the old saying goes, sticks and stones. So I want to remind you again what Paul said from Ephesians, and I'm going to read it one more time to you. Do not let any unwholesome talk come from your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. And I think that's something that we can all do together, and I think it's something we can all learn from. So that's my message for today. Choose your words carefully. Choose them to help, not hurt. And when you can, use them to heal. Can we all bow our heads now? God, thank you for loving us and for always being there to help us. Please give us the wisdom to choose our words carefully. We want the things we say to build others up and encourage them. But when we mess up, please give us the courage to say we're sorry and ask for forgiveness. Help us to use our words wisely. We love you, and we ask these things in Jesus' name. And everybody said, Amen. Thanks a lot, kids. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.